What's going on, everyone? I'm Rhett Shull. Welcome back to another video. Today we're talking about reverb. Reverb is probably the most useful effect on anyone's pedal board, and so I'm going to show you 5 different tips and tricks to get the most out of the reverb pedal on your board. I'm also going to show you some really crazy non-guitar-like tones that I've dialed up with my Strymon Big Sky here, and how you can use a digital reverb pedal for sound design. Today I'm playing my Novo Ceres J into my Morgan AC20 Deluxe. All the tracks that you heard at the top of the video were through the Morgan, and I was using my Strymon Big Sky for all those reverb sounds. Links to all the gear I used can be found in the description box down below, so be sure to check that out. And without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so the first tip is to use pretty subtle reverbs to help your guitar fit into a mix. I like using room reverbs and springs for this purpose, and what it does is act as a little bit of a foundation that sits just under your guitar tone that kind of glues everything together. So let's dial in one of these reverbs now. Here's my dry tone. So on my board I have just a random Hall reverb pulled up, but we're going to tweak this and turn it into our subtle reverb. So here's the Hall patch I have. So you can hear it's not very subtle. That's a pretty wet reverb. So first thing I'm going to do on the Big Sky, we're going to go to a room reverb, and I'm going to bring the mix down, and I'm going to bring the decay down a little bit. Let's start with that. Okay, so that's not bad. I'm also going to add a little pre-delay. Now, pre-delay is important when you're doing this kind of tone because it delays the reverb and it helps keep it from stepping on your notes and on your chords. So I'll turn it way up so you can hear exactly what it's doing. This is a lot of pre-delay. But you hear I strike the note and then the reverb comes on. Pre-delay is a really important tool to have because it lets your guitar sit in front of the reverb and not get drowned out. So I'm gonna bring this down. So let's see where we're at here. Now that's pretty good. I would tweak a little bit more, maybe bring the tone down just a little bit and bring that diffusion down. So now we have a really nice subtle room reverb. Now you want to be careful with this in a live setting because a lot of times you're playing in a club or in a theater or in a bar where the room itself has a natural reverb to it. So in that kind of setting, I'm listening to what's going on in the room, and I may choose to turn the reverb off and let the room itself do the work. Okay, tip number 2 is to use long, lush reverbs to add a little character to more simple guitar parts. Now, I talked about this in my delay tips and tricks video, which you can watch here. By taking a reverb or delay sound that's more prevalent and adding it to a simple guitar part, you can really make that guitar part shine. So here I have a patch pulled up that I call Versatile, and I dialed this in about a year ago, and I just liked the way it came out. It's a plate reverb with the mix and decay turned up pretty high, and I find it to be useful in a lot of different situations. So here is the reverb. So you can hear it's definitely more prevalent than the room we were using a second ago. Now I love this reverb because it works with single notes and chords really well. Now when you're dialing in a preset like this, let's just make a new one real quick. So we'll use a Hall this time. Now I'm gonna bring the mix up a little bit more to maybe 1 o'clock. I'm gonna bring that pre-delay down because I don't necessarily want the guitar to stand out in front of the reverb. I want it to be a part of the reverb. And I'm gonna bring my decay up to probably, I don't know, maybe let's try 7 seconds. Let's just see where this sits now. Okay, that's good. It's a good start, but it's a little dark, so I'm going to brighten it up because I want this reverb to kind of shine a little bit and stand out. So we're going to brighten it up. I'm also going to add a little modulation. Now, modulation is something that's really important when you want your reverb to sound bigger and thicker. I talked about this in the delay video as well, but adding that modulation, that slight chorus effect, is great for adding width to your sound. Basically what's happening is the pedal is adding pitch modulation. So as the pitch is wobbling both sharp and flat by a few cents, your ear is not necessarily hearing it as being out of tune, it's hearing it as being wider and thicker and heavier. Okay, so now that's definitely better. I'm gonna bring the mix up a little bit more, mod up a little bit more, and the tone back. Now we should be in a better... When you're building reverb patches like this, it's all about experimentation and tweaking. Try a couple of different guitars, try it through a different amp. Basically what I'm looking for with this sound is something that's adding some character, some harmonic richness to my sound, and some complexity, so it's not just, you know, a dry sound. All right, next I'm going to show you how to dial in a really cool big spring reverb sound. It's really great for that retro kind of sound. Or those like old school chord stab things you hear a lot. So this is more of what I call a character effect, where the effect is actually standing out alongside the guitar part that you're playing. So to dial this in, we're gonna go to spring here on the big sky. I'm gonna bring the mix up. We'll start there, bring that pre-delay down, the decay down, and let's just see where this is at. Okay, mix is a little high, so we'll bring that down. Now I'm gonna go into parameters here, and number of springs, I'm gonna change to 2. Let's see what that does. So it cleans it up a little bit. Actually, I like that combo amp sound. So here's our new patch. So again, that's a lot of reverb. It's not subtle. You can tweak from there. It's a really cool sound I use a lot, especially for like country guitar. It's cool. Love that sound. All right, next I'm going to show you how to use a Shimmer reverb to kind of replace a keyboard player. Now, little note about Shimmers. I don't use Shimmer reverb sounds very often because I think they're a little cliche, sort of worship guitar, churchy sound. And in that setting, they can work really well. But outside of that setting, I'm not a huge fan of using Shimmer reverbs. That being said, I do have a way of helping them to not sound as cheesy. So I've got a patch here that I call Shine On, and it's just a typical Shimmer reverb, not much to it. That sounds cool, but to me the top end is a little too present. Those upper voices are too bright and they stand out too much. So the way we're gonna fix that is switch to the neck pickup, and I'm gonna roll the tone all the way off. Now listen to what we have. Now, especially when you throw a volume swell in with that, you get a much cooler effect. See, to me, that's much cooler than just the stock Shimmer sound. So now let's say you want to replace a synth pad in a track or a keyboard, or if you're in a live situation, you don't have a keyboard player and you want a nice kind of lush synth sound, you can take this and crank the decay way up and crank the mix way up. Now with our tone rolled off on the neck pickup, we get this. I mean, that's a pretty cool effect right there, if you ask me. Now, One thing you have to look out for, you can hear I'm getting a little bit of tube distortion, so you want to kind of ride your volume knob here on your guitar so that it doesn't break up, or you might want to adjust the amp settings, because that's kind of that sort of distortion is a dead giveaway that it's not a keyboard pad. Now, you might want that, in which case, there you go. Now that's going to lead into the final tip for this video, which is using reverbs for crazy out there sound effect, sound design things. I'm going to show you some patches that I have here on my pedal. I don't know how I got them. It was just days where I was tweaking and playing around with weird settings and just kind of stumbled into these sounds. So I can't really take you through and tell you how I built these sounds. I can just show them to you and hopefully inspire you to create your own sort of out there sound effects. So this is one I call Weird Science, and I couldn't think of a better name for it. This is what it sounds like. I mean, that really sounds more like a synth than a guitar to me. And it's a lot of fun to use with like a fuzz and a volume swell. So or if I use the H9 to put a shimmer in front of that, you get this. I mean, that's just a crazy effect. So I also have done it with my timeline with the delay pedal here. This is one I call Bad Dreams. If I turn the reverb off, this is what the delay sounds like. Sounds like a weird bit crushed broken radio. But when I put that in front of like maybe a cloud reverb, this is just one of the stock Big Sky cloud sounds. Or if we put that shimmer back in front of it, I mean, that's super unique. And then if we go back to Weird Science, we have so there you go. That's my look at reverbs. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, be sure to like. Also, leave me a comment below letting me know what you think about these reverb sounds and these tips and tricks. I'd love to know what you're using for reverb, how you like to use your reverb. Also, you can follow me on Instagram at Rhett Shull. I would love to see and hear your reverb sounds. So you can DM me videos of you playing with your reverb patches, and they may be featured in a future video. As I said before, you can find links to all of the gear used today in the description box down below. If you buy through one of those links, I get a direct kickback, which really helps me out in making these videos. Anyways, that's going to do it for today. I'm Rhett Shull. Thanks for watching, and remember, there is no plan B.